Welcome to Why Board is Better, featuring Crescent artboards. Artists are passionate about the surfaces they choose to create their artwork. Whether those surfaces are paper, canvas, or board, many artists tend to stick to the surface they became accustomed to early on in their art careers. But artists like the freedom to create art anywhere, and sometimes paper and canvas are not ideal. Crescent artboards offer a large variety of surfaces that can be used just about anywhere, and for just about any medium. Now in convenient 3-board packs, Crescent now offers 8 of our most popular boards in packaging designed to reach today's consumer. And as you are about to learn, can help artists create their art anywhere inspiration is found. Before we learn about Crescent artboards, let's look at today's customers and how different generations have very different expectations when they shop. Here is a graph of the current U.S. generational demographics. Recently, Generation Z took over as the largest population segment in the U.S. The oldest members of Gen Z are now 21 years old. This generation is still in its formative stages, so a lot is still unknown about this age group. What kind of consumers they will be and what impact they will have. Early data indicates that they may be an even more extreme version of millennials. Gen Z goes further than millennials in their tendency toward unique demands and disruption of the old ways of doing business. In fact, Business Insider calls Generation Z millennials on steroids. Millennials have changed the marketplace and our culture in some pretty profound ways. We're going to take a deep look at some of their behaviors and demands as customers to help you understand them and build their trust and loyalty. Millennials are now 22 to 37 years old. Generation X members are now 38 to 53. Boomers are now 54 to 73. Matures, or the greatest generation, who are now 8% of the U.S. population and declining, are those born before 1945. While this oldest generation and Generation Z are important, this discussion will focus on the consumer behavior of the 3 adult consumer groups that are currently most influential: the Millennials, Generation X, and the Baby Boomers. Generation Z will become more of a force as they grow in age and purchasing power. Let's take a look at the key characteristics of the 3 most influential generations and their respective consumer behavior. Here are the current ages of the 3 generations. Millennials, or Generation Y, are aged 22 to 37 and make up 22% of the population. Generation X, aged 38 to 53, make up 20%, and Baby Boomers, aged 54 to 73, are 24%. Millennials, or Generation Y, are also known as the Echo Boomers because they are children of the Baby Boomer generation. They've also been referred to as the Trophy Kids due to their parents' tendency to celebrate each child as unique and special, emphasizing participation over competitiveness. This is a generation of native technology users who were exposed to computers and technology gadgets as toddlers and throughout their educational years. But that exposure to technology has also made this generation a bit jaded. They've been targeted with the most advertising and marketing of any age group, and as a result, millennials distrust messaging that is perceived as advertising. As this large demographic is reaching their prime purchasing years, their particular needs must be addressed to gain and retain their business. There are 80 million U.S. millennials, and they spend about $600 billion annually. That equates to 28% of all daily per-person spend. This figure is predicted to jump to 35% of all spending by 2030. So millennial spending is significant now and will become increasingly so. Millennials strongly identify with these statements. They want it fast and they want it now. They want life on their terms. They trust their friends more than corporations and are skeptical of big business. They are very social, both online and off, sometimes both at the same time. They get and share information differently than older generations. Millennials are optimistic about their ability to change the world. They'll opt to go green or earth-friendly when the opportunity exists, and they have diverse interests. Sometimes millennials' interests are contradictory or temporary. It is not easy to pigeonhole them. Their hobbies and passions may be passing phases. so they're hard to keep up with. This last point is important to remember when thinking about their art material purchasing habits, as they may often change artistic direction and focus. Generation X is also known as the latchkey kids or lost generation, because they were the first generation that was likely to have divorced parents or both parents working outside the home. They are a well-educated generation, with over 60% attending college and 45% graduating. While they were not exposed to technology quite as early as the millennials, they still incorporated computers and technology into their lives at a relatively early age. As adults, they are independent, skeptical, savvy consumers who pride themselves on making informed purchasing decisions and who often turn to the internet when searching for the best value for their money. Members of Generation X are less interested in trying new brands compared to their younger and older counterparts. Instead, they prefer to stick with brands they know and trust and are willing to shell out extra money for them. Since family stability was not a given in this generation's childhood, Generation X values family structure, so they form their families and even their business relationships with a high degree of caution and pragmatism. Baby boomers were born post-World War II to 1964. This generation is by far the largest economic influencer, representing about 70% of our country's net worth, while making up 24% of the U.S. population. Baby boomers are technology immigrants. They have become increasingly comfortable with technology's role in their lives, but didn't grow up with it the way later generations did. While boomers are nostalgic for their childhood memories, most don't want to go back to the way things were. They'd rather celebrate their memories in a new, modern interpretation. For example, they will purchase the music and movies from their youth in modern formats, such as Netflix or iTunes. And they do not consider themselves old, even as they ease into retirement. This is the age of Aquarius and Woodstock generation of perceived eternal youth. This generation is finally at a point in life where they can either pick up or return to art as a hobby. Boomers are also sandwiched between generations. Many are caring for their greatest generation parents, while still supporting their millennial-aged children who have either not moved out or have boomeranged back home. Research shows that emotions are a major driver to boomer purchasing decisions. That was a quick overview of how these three key age groups, millennials, Generation X, and baby boomers, have different needs to be addressed when they make purchasing decisions. Now let's look at what's going on in the design world. There's a revolution going on that is changing what we assume about the status quo. Look at what's happening politically around the globe. A few years ago, voters in the UK, against all expectations, voted to leave the European Union in a movement known as Brexit. Here in the United States, a person with no previous political experience is now president. There is a lot of disruption going on to what were formerly assumed to be socio-political standards. While these events at first glance seem completely disconnected from what's happening in design, these social paradigm shifts have also influenced the design community. The maker movement is one of the largest creative trends at present. This quote comes from Time magazine in 2014, one of the first national publications to define the movement. The maker movement is a global community of inventors, designers, engineers, artists, programmers, hackers, tinkerers, craftsmen, and DIYers. The kind of people who share a quality that leads to learning and to innovation. They have a perennial curiosity about how they could do it better the next time. The design cycle is all about reiteration, trying something again and again until it works, and then, once it works, making it better. As manufacturing tools continue to become better, cheaper, and more accessible, the maker movement is gaining momentum at an unprecedented rate. There are an estimated 135 million U.S. adults in the maker movement. Their interests include tech-related things such as robots, drones, software, and 3D printing, as well as traditional arts and crafts, including silkscreen and other art mediums, crochet, jewelry making, home canning, eco-sustainability, beekeeping, and composting. The maker movement combines outside-the-box creativity with technology. It's a convergence of computer hackers and traditional artisans that create works that run counter to mass-produced, made-in-China products. Another trend we see picking up steam in popularity is hand lettering. From traditional calligraphy to what's known as modern calligraphy, Hand lettering artists have made a comeback. The trend first surfaced in the graphic design industry around 2012 and is now popular among artists, artisans, and crafters. It's a rebellion to our digitally monopolized worlds and a celebration of handcrafting, even when it's imperfect. Both the maker movement and the hand lettering trends are impacting art material purchases. As retailers, you might want to feature product displays that inspire these passionate artist groups. Now that you've learned a bit about today's art material consumer and the trends that are influencing their purchases, let's go back to Crescent artboards and learn how they are often an excellent substrate for today's artist. Paper can be a great surface, but it's not without its challenges. It needs a flat surface underneath for smooth strokes. It needs an easel or other supportive backing. It's hard to use in plein air settings. Paper does not always stand up to heavy strokes, paint application, erasing, or layering. It's easily torn or damaged. Watercolor paper needs to be stretched before use, and completed artwork on paper can be damaged when mounting. Here's an example of watercolor paper wrinkling and pulling away from the board. One of the great things about working on a rigid surface like Crescent artboards is that they make it possible to take your art anywhere. Here are the 8 boards that Crescent now provides in convenient 3-board packs. 114 watercolor, 215 marker, 1200-113 canvas textured, 99 drawing, 300 illustration, 20 lettering, 8 textured black, and 40C chipboard. So whether you are working in the studio, need a change of scenery, or want to keep drawing while you catch up on some TV, or are working on a bumpy surface like this textured placemat, or want to bring your work outside, Crescent artboards are ready to work when you are ready to create. Crescent's new 3-board packs are all available in 4 frame-ready sizes, 5x7, 8x10, 9x12, and 11x14. They come in colorful packaging that shows the product in use. All have clear hangbags for easy display, and all are buffered to resist aging except the 40C chipboard. Let's now take a closer look at each of the Crescent artboards featured in the new 3-board packs. First up, the 114 watercolor board. Watercolor board responds well to both wet-on-wet and dry brush techniques. It holds stroke shape without feathering and doesn't require stretching. Pencil lines are easy to erase on watercolor board, and its sturdy construction can go anywhere. The 114 watercolor board is best for watercolor, gouache, watercolor pencil, and ink washes. You can find it in the Crescent Trial Pack SPWC. Next up, Crescent's 215 marker board. Marker board has a smooth surface that captures strokes beautifully and allows for easy blending. Artists can build up layers of strokes without surface degradation. Marker board holds stroke shape without feathering, makes pencil lines easy to erase, and is sturdy enough to go anywhere. The 215 marker board is best for markers, oil-based, pigmented, and alcohol-based, and spray paint, and can be found in Crescent's Trial Pack SPMRKR. Crescent's 8 textured blackboard is a versatile board. One textured side is great for pastels and expressive strokes, and blends easily and allows layered blending. The smooth side is great for many functions, including colored pencil, easy layering, and blending. It tends to minimize waxy bloom and can be used as a mounting board. And of course, you can take it anywhere. The number 8 textured blackboard is best for pastel, chalk, colored pencil, acrylic, mounting, and presentations, and can be found in Trial Pack SPUB. 1200-113 Canvas Textured Board features a newly enhanced, more realistic canvas textured surface that reacts well with either thick gestural strokes or thin washes. There's no gesso or stretching needed, and you can take Canvas Textured Board with you anywhere. The 1200-113 Canvas Textured Board is best for acrylic, gouache, oil pastel, and mixed media techniques, and can be found in the Trial Pack SPCNVS. Crescent's 99 Drawing Board has been the go-to artist's board for decades. The drawing board's smooth surface captures fine detail and works well with a variety of mediums: ink, pencil, colored pencil, and pastel. It's easy to erase pencil lines on drawing board, and it's sturdy enough to go anywhere. The 99 Drawing Board is best for graphite, colored pencil, marker, ink, and mixed media, and can be found in Trial Pack SPIL. While similar in performance to the 99 drawing board, Crescent's 300 illustration board features a warmer white surface. Its smooth surface captures fine detail and works well with a variety of mediums: ink, pencil, colored pencil, and pastel. It's easy to erase pencil lines on the illustration board, and it's sturdy enough to go anywhere. Crescent's 300 illustration board is best for graphite, colored pencil, marker, ink, and mixed media, and can be found in Trial Pack SPIL. The number 20 lettering board is designed to meet the needs of today's lettering artist. The drawing board's smooth surface captures fine detail and works well with a variety of lettering applications: pen, ink, marker, and brush. It's easy to erase pencil lines on the lettering board, and it's sturdy enough to go anywhere. Crescent's number 20 lettering board is best for pen, ink, marker, and brush lettering, and can be found in Trial Pack SPIL. Crescent's chipboard is a versatile, sturdy option that is consistent in structure and thickness. Chipboard's thicker construction stands up to paint, collage, and model building. Chipboard is easy to cut, budget-friendly, and made of 100% recycled material. As always, sturdy board can go anywhere. Use the 40C clipboard for collage, crafts, stencils, mixed media, and models. You can find it in the Trial Pack SPAE. Here are some tips and tricks to using Crescent artboards. Store unused boards in the resealable bag that comes with every pack. Seal the edges of the boards with wax before using water-based mediums. This prevents water from seeping into the board edges and causing delamination or swelling and flaring of the edges. If the board bows after creating your work in a wet medium, don't panic. Let the piece completely dry. Then turn it over on a clean, flat surface and brush the back with a little water to gently dampen. Let it dry on the clean, flat surface and it will flatten back out. If you need to erase on the number 8 textured black board, use a black eraser. If using a spray fixative on the number 8 board, hold the piece at least 3 feet away and gently mist the board. When matting artwork created with pastels, graphite, chalk, or other powdery mediums, use a reverse bevel so that any falling debris will fall behind the mat and not collect on the bevel surface. Crescent is committed to promoting the new 3-board packs. Here are some of the ways we are getting the word out to your customers: full-page advertising in Artist magazine, posts on Facebook and social media, videos, and Facebook Live events by independent designers. We also have trial packs available for all of the boards. These are great for artists to try before they buy, or to use for in-store promotions and demos. Remember those 3 generations we learned about earlier in this presentation? Here is how Crescent's new 3-board packs can appeal to those vastly different customer types. Millennials want it fast and now, and Crescent's 3-board packs are ready to work when they are. They also have multiple applications, which can address the diverse and changing interests of the millennial artist. Generation X customers may relate to the fact that Crescent is a family-owned company. In fact, it is currently being run by 4th and 5th generation owners. Gen Xers also prefer brands they know and trust, which is why, as a 115-year-old industry leader, Crescent's brand is strong and recognized by artists of all generations. The baby boomers may finally have some free time and are returning to their art passion. Crescent's 3-board packs in pre-cut sizes make it easy for this generation to get back to art, and with visually inspiring packaging, help to make that emotional art connection that is key for the baby boomer customer. Crescent's versatile artboards, now in 3-board packs, offer packaging that appeals to today's customer. Impactful photography shows the board in use, convenient pre-cuts of popular and frame-ready sizes, easy to merchandise near related mediums, come in a resealable bag to store unused boards, and are made in the USA by Crescent, a brand trusted by artists for over a century.